Throughout history, people have looked to the stars for guidance, seeking answers about their purpose, challenges, and destiny. Astrology is more than just personality traits, it's a reflection of the karmic lessons each soul carries. When we examine the 12 zodiac signs through the lens of karma and spiritual growth, we uncover deep truths about why we struggle, what patterns we must break, and how we can evolve into our highest selves. This is not just astrology for entertainment. This is a spiritual journey, rooted in wisdom from great minds across time, from Buddha's teachings on karma to Christian principles of redemption. From historical leaders to modern innovators who embody these lessons. So whether you're an impulsive Aries, a stubborn Taurus, or an ever-curious Gemini, this guide will help you identify your karmic patterns, understand the consequences of your actions, and most importantly, break the cycle to achieve spiritual growth. Let's begin this journey with an open mind, knowing that astrology is not about fate, it's about understanding yourself so you can transform your life. Aries, the karmic pattern of impulsiveness and control. Aries, ruled by Mars, carries the karma of impulsiveness, impatience, and a strong desire for control. These individuals are natural-born leaders, but their fiery temperament can often lead them into conflicts. Throughout history, many great military leaders and pioneers have embodied Aries' bold energy. Think of Napoleon Bonaparte, who charged ahead with relentless ambition, or Steve Jobs, whose intensity and impatience shaped Apple but also led to personal and professional clashes. The karmic consequence: impulsiveness and a lack of patience often lead Aries to rash decisions, unnecessary arguments, and broken relationships. They act first and think later, believing they must take control of situations at all costs. This need for dominance can create an aggressive aura, pushing people away and leading to isolation. Just as Alexander the Great conquered vast territories but faced constant rebellion and betrayal, Aries individuals must learn that raw force alone is not enough to sustain power or relationships. How to break the karmic cycle? Cultivate patience and mindfulness. Aries must learn to pause before reacting. Practicing mindfulness, through meditation or even simple breathwork, can help slow down impulsive tendencies. Adopt the mantra: not everything requires a battle. The greatest leaders, like Abraham Lincoln, knew when to act and when to hold back. Practice compassion meditation, metta bhavana, to counterbalance their aggressive streak. Aries should engage in loving-kindness meditation, metta bhavana. This practice focuses on sending goodwill and compassion to others, softening the fiery nature and reducing anger. Example: before reacting to a frustrating situation, take a moment to send kind thoughts toward the person involved. Over time, this helps Aries respond with wisdom rather than emotion. Embrace humility and let go of control. Aries must accept that they cannot control everything. True power comes from influence, not domination. Study leaders like Theodore Roosevelt, who started as an aggressive, war-driven figure but later channeled his energy into diplomacy and conservation efforts. Physical exercise is a spiritual practice. Since Aries thrives on action, martial arts, yoga, or even endurance sports can be powerful tools for channeling their energy in a constructive way. By transforming their impulsive nature into calculated wisdom, Aries individuals can lead not through force, but through vision and inspiration. Taurus, the karmic pattern of attachment to material wealth. Taurus, ruled by Venus, carries a deep karmic lesson tied to material attachment, financial security, and resistance to change. Taurians crave stability and wealth, often equating success with tangible possessions. While this determination has led many Taurus individuals to great heights, think of Mark Zuckerberg, who built Facebook into a global empire, or Warren Buffett, whose disciplined approach to money made him one of the richest men alive. It can also become a spiritual burden. The karmic consequence: a strong attachment to wealth and comfort often breeds fear of loss, anxiety, and jealousy. The more Taurus accumulates, the more they worry about protecting what they have. This can create a scarcity mindset, where they resist change, fearing instability. Look at King Midas. His obsession with gold ultimately became his downfall. Similarly, modern billionaires who hoard wealth without generosity often live in isolation. constantly fearing betrayal or financial ruin. Taurus also struggles with stubbornness. Once they decide on something, it's almost impossible to change their mind. Henry Ford, a textbook Taurus, revolutionized the automobile industry but refused to adapt to changing times, leading to his company's decline. This resistance to evolution is a major karmic roadblock. How to break the karmic cycle? Practice generosity. Dana, the act of giving. One of the best ways for Taurus to loosen their grip on material attachment is through giving. Practicing acts of generosity, whether donating to charity, supporting loved ones, or simply offering time and energy, helps them shift from a mindset of hoarding to one of abundance. Example: Bill Gates, a Taurus, built immense wealth but later committed to the giving pledge, donating most of his fortune. His transformation from a ruthless businessman to a philanthropist shows how Taurus can evolve spiritually. Embrace impermanence. Anicca, the law of change. Taurus must accept that nothing lasts forever, not wealth, not power, not even life itself. The Buddhist teaching of impermanence helps them detach from the illusion that financial security equals emotional stability. Exercise. Meditate on the concept of impermanence. Visualize everything you own dissolving into dust. It sounds intense, but it's a powerful way to reframe attachment. Learn flexibility and adaptability. Taurus' resistance to change often leads to stagnation. They must train themselves to embrace new experiences, whether that's learning a new skill, changing careers, or even letting go of outdated beliefs. Example: Jeff Bezos, another Taurus, started with books but adapted to e-commerce, cloud computing, and even space travel. The ability to evolve rather than resist is key to Taurus' spiritual growth. Prioritize inner wealth over outer wealth. True security doesn't come from money, it comes from peace of mind. Taurus should focus on building inner abundance through meditation, gratitude, and self-awareness rather than constantly chasing financial success. Mantra: I am already enough. I have everything I need within me. By shifting their mindset from possessiveness to abundance, from fear to trust, Taurus individuals can break free from karmic cycles and find true fulfillment beyond material wealth. Gemini, the karmic pattern of words and communication. Gemini, ruled by Mercury, carries the karma of speech, fast, witty, and persuasive, but often reckless. They thrive on communication, but their greatest strength can also be their biggest downfall. Gemini individuals are natural storytellers and connectors, much like Elon Musk, whose tweets can shake entire industries, or Kanye West, whose unfiltered speech has sparked both genius and controversy. Throughout history, leaders like Julius Caesar wielded words like weapons, using rhetoric to rise to power, but also to sow the seeds of betrayal. The karmic consequence: words have power. Gemini's tendency to speak before thinking can create unintended chaos. Gossip, half-truths, or even well-intended but careless remarks can lead to conflict, loss of trust, and negative karma. Think of Edward Snowden, who revealed government secrets. Was it truth-telling or reckless endangerment? Or Donald Trump, whose off-the-cuff remarks have both inspired and alienated millions. In personal relationships, Gemini's restlessness and need for constant engagement can make them appear unreliable. Their charm and adaptability make them magnetic, but if not careful, they may come off as insincere or manipulative. Overpromising and under-delivering is a karmic trap that Gemini must avoid. How to break the karmic cycle? Practice right speech. In Buddhist teachings, right speech means speaking with truthfulness, kindness, and intention. Before speaking, Gemini should pause and ask, is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? Example: Barack Obama, a masterful Gemini communicator, carefully weighs his words, ensuring they inspire rather than divide. Silence is a strength, not a weakness. Not every thought needs to be spoken. Gemini can train themselves to be comfortable with silence, using it as a tool rather than fearing it. Leonardo da Vinci, another Gemini, was known for his quiet observation. His genius stemmed from listening more than talking. Exercise. Try a silent meditation retreat, or simply practice active listening in daily conversations. Meditate before speaking. The breath-mind connection is crucial for Gemini. Before speaking, A simple practice is to take one deep breath to allow the mind to settle. Mantra. My words create my reality. By internalizing this, Gemini can transform their speech from reactionary to intentional. Use words for healing, not harm. Instead of gossiping or making impulsive statements, Gemini should use their gift of communication to uplift others. Writing, public speaking, or even simple encouragement can reverse negative speech karma. Example: Tupac Shakur, a Gemini, used his words to paint raw, emotional truths about life and struggle. His lyrics still inspire millions today. By shifting from careless speech to mindful communication, Gemini can turn their karmic challenge into their greatest power, using words to heal, inspire, and create rather than to divide. Cancer. The karmic pattern of emotional attachment in the past. Cancer, ruled by the moon, carries the karma of deep emotional sensitivity and attachment to the past. They feel everything intensely, often holding on to memories, relationships, and experiences long after they have served their purpose. This emotional depth makes them incredibly nurturing, like Princess Diana, whose empathy defined her legacy, or Tom Hanks, who brings warmth to every role. But when this sensitivity turns inward, it can manifest as clinging to past wounds, refusing to move on, and carrying emotional burdens that no longer serve them. The karmic consequence. Cancer's inability to let go creates unnecessary suffering. They replay old conversations, regret missed opportunities, and dwell on past betrayals. This attachment to the past leads to self-inflicted pain, just as historic figures like Mary, Queen of Scots, who never overcame her tragic past, let emotions cloud her judgment, ultimately leading to her downfall. In personal relationships, Cancer's need for emotional security can make them overly protective or even possessive. They struggle with change, resisting new beginnings out of fear. Think of Robin Williams, a deeply sensitive Cancer, who carried immense emotional weight, channeling it into his art but also battling inner turmoil. How to break the karmic cycle. Practice letting go, the art of release. Cancer must understand that nothing lasts forever, not love, not pain, not even life itself. Holding on only creates suffering. The lesson here is acceptance. Example: Jeff Bezos, a Cancer, built Amazon from nothing, but rather than clinging to the past, he stepped away, understanding that reinvention is part of life cycle. Compassion meditation, metta bhavana, to detach from emotional baggage. By practicing loving kindness meditation, Cancer can learn to release emotional pain. This meditation helps shift their focus from holding on to past wounds to embracing love without attachment. Exercise. Each day, send thoughts of compassion to someone they struggle to forgive, even if that person is themselves. See life as impermanent, anicca, the law of change. Cancer must embrace the Buddhist teaching of impermanence, that every emotion, relationship, and experience is fleeting. Example: Elon Musk, though a Cancer, constantly reinvents himself. He doesn't dwell on past failures, he moves forward. Embodying a growth mindset, channel emotional energy into creative expression. Instead of letting emotions fester, Cancer should transform them into art, writing, or service to others. Their gift is empathy, and when used wisely, it becomes their greatest strength. Example: Post Malone, a Cancer, channels deep emotions into his music, turning personal pain into universal connection. By shifting from attachment to acceptance, Cancer individuals can break free from the weight of the past, stepping into a life of emotional freedom and peace. Leo, the karmic pattern of ego and pride. Leo, ruled by the sun, carries the karma of self-importance, a deep need for recognition, and a tendency toward arrogance. These individuals are natural-born leaders, radiating confidence and charisma, but when left unchecked, their desire for admiration can morph into vanity, entitlement, and an inability to handle criticism. Look at Napoleon Bonaparte, whose belief in his own invincibility led to both his rise and downfall. Or Kanye West, a modern Leo archetype, brilliant, charismatic, but often undone by his own ego. Even Elon Musk, with his larger-than-life personality, faces constant scrutiny because of his unwillingness to back down from public criticism. The karmic consequence. Leo's need to be admired can become an obsession, making them overly sensitive to both praise and criticism. When things go well, they thrive, but when their ego is bruised, they can become defensive, stubborn, or even vengeful. This attachment to public image creates suffering. They tie their self-worth to external validation, which is fleeting and unreliable. Look at Alexander the Great, a fearless leader who conquered the known world. Yet his thirst for glory and inability to accept counsel led to his empire's downfall. Similarly, Michael Jordan, though one of the greatest athletes of all time, was known for holding grudges against anyone who doubted him. Leo's greatest enemy is their own need to be right, to be the best, and to be admired at all costs. How to break the karmic cycle? Cultivate humility, the power of modesty. Leo must learn that true greatness comes from service, not self-glorification. Example: Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, despite his superstar status, remains grounded and uses his platform to uplift others, a perfect example of a Leo who leads with humility. Detach from praise and criticism, both are meaningless. One of Leo's biggest karmic traps is tying their happiness to what others think. They must realize that neither praise nor judgment defines their true worth. Exercise. Practice being okay with not being the center of attention. Observe how it feels to step back and let others shine. Shift from ego to purpose. Lead with meaning, not validation. Leo is meant to lead, but the best leaders serve something bigger than themselves. Example: Barack Obama, a Leo, channels his charisma into inspiring change rather than demanding admiration. Meditate on impermanence. Nothing lasts forever. Leo must remember that fame, status, and recognition are temporary. Attachments to these things only lead to suffering. Mantra: I am not my achievements. I am not my reputation. I am more than the applause. By shifting from self-glorification to selfless leadership, Leo can turn their karmic challenge into their greatest gift, becoming a true beacon of light. Not just for themselves, but for the world. Virgo, the karmic pattern of perfectionism and criticism. Virgo, ruled by Mercury, carries the karma of perfectionism, over-analysis, and a tendency to be overly critical. Their sharp minds and attention to detail make them masters of efficiency. But this same gift can turn into an obsession with control, leading to stress, judgment, and dissatisfaction. Look at Steve Jobs, a textbook Virgo. His perfectionism revolutionized technology, but his harsh criticism of employees created a high-pressure work environment. Or Keanu Reeves, another Virgo, who embodies the more evolved path, striving for excellence without ego, showing grace even in imperfection. The karmic consequence. Virgo's relentless pursuit of perfection often leads to constant self-criticism. They hold impossibly high standards for themselves and others, believing that nothing is ever good enough. This mindset creates anxiety, frustration, and strained relationships, not because Virgo doesn't care, but because they care too much. Historically, Julius Caesar, a Virgo-like strategist, meticulously planned his rise to power but was ultimately betrayed by those closest to him, perhaps because his high expectations made him blind to human nature. Similarly, Beyoncé, another Virgo, is known for her work ethic and perfectionism, but she also understands the importance of balance and gratitude. How to break the karmic cycle. Practice letting go, the art of acceptance. Virgo must understand that perfection is an illusion. Striving for excellence is good, but obsessing over flaws creates suffering. Example: Zendaya, a Virgo, embraces her imperfections, showing that success doesn't require being perfect, just being authentic. Shift from criticism to encouragement. Instead of focusing on what's wrong, Virgo should channel their insight into constructive, uplifting feedback. Exercise. For every criticism Virgo wants to give, they must find at least one thing to praise first. Gratitude meditation, transforming judgment into appreciation. Instead of seeing flaws, Virgo should train their mind to see beauty in imperfection. Practice. At the end of each day, write down 3 things that went well, no matter how small. Understand that control is an illusion. Virgo's need to fix everything stems from a deep desire for control. But the truth is, not everything can or should be controlled. Mantra: I release the need for perfection. I trust in the flow of life. by shifting from criticism to acceptance, from control to trust. Virgo can transform their karmic burden into their greatest strength, becoming a guide, a healer, and a source of wisdom, not judgment. Libra, the karmic pattern of indecision and external validation. Libra, ruled by Venus, carries the karma of indecisiveness, people-pleasing, and dependence on external approval. They are natural diplomats, skilled in creating harmony and understanding, but their deep desire to keep the peace often leads them to avoid conflict, struggle with decision-making, and rely too much on others' opinions. Look at Will Smith, a Libra whose career has been shaped by his ability to adapt to public demand, but whose personal struggles show the cost of seeking approval. Or Kim Kardashian, who built an empire on being liked but constantly faces criticism for letting others dictate her identity. Even historical figures like Dwight D. Eisenhower, a Libra general and president, had to learn that sometimes hard decisions must be made, even if they upset people. The karmic consequence. Libra's fear of making the wrong choice often leads them to make no choice at all, which in itself is a decision with consequences. They can miss opportunities, become stuck in toxic relationships, or feel lost because they rely too much on outside validation. This karmic cycle creates anxiety, self-doubt, and frustration because deep down, Libra knows they have given away their power. Think of John F. Kennedy, a Libra who, despite his charisma, was criticized for indecisiveness in handling the Vietnam War. Or Marie Antoinette, who avoided making tough decisions, ultimately leading to her downfall. In modern times, even Bruno Mars, a Libra artist, has spoken about struggling to balance his artistic vision with industry expectations. How to break the karmic cycle. Develop self-trust. Make a choice and own it. Libra must stop waiting for external validation before making a move. They need to build the confidence to make decisions without fear of disappointing others. Example: Serena Williams, a Libra, made bold career decisions based on her own vision, not public opinion, and became one of the greatest athletes of all time. Practice inner reflection, meditation on self-knowledge. Libra needs to connect with their own values and desires, rather than constantly adapting to those around them. Exercise. Sit in silence for 5 minutes every morning and ask, "What do I truly want?" without considering what others think. Understand that pleasing everyone is impossible. The reality is, no decision will make everyone happy. Libra must accept that making choices, even unpopular ones, is necessary for growth. Example: Gandhi, a Libra, made the difficult decision to challenge British rule, despite opposition, proving that justice requires bold action, not endless deliberation. Embrace the imperfection of decisions. Every choice carries risk, but avoiding decisions out of fear is a greater failure. Libra must learn that even mistakes are valuable experiences. Mantra: I trust myself. My decisions shape my path, and I stand by them. By shifting from indecision to self-trust, Libra can step into their true power, becoming not just peacemakers, but decisive leaders who create balance through strength, not hesitation. Scorpio, the karmic pattern of control and resentment. Scorpio, ruled by Pluto and Mars, carries the karma of power, control, and an intense emotional depth that, if left unchecked, can turn into long-lasting grudges and vengeance. They are strategic, resilient, and capable of transformation, but their greatest challenge lies in letting go of past betrayals and relinquishing the need to control everything around them. Look at Vladimir Putin, a textbook Scorpio, calculating, secretive, and known for holding grudges against those who cross him. Or Drake, whose music often reflects the Scorpio trait of remembering every slight and using it as fuel. Even historical figures like Richard Nixon, whose paranoia and obsession with power led to the Watergate scandal, illustrate the consequences of Scorpio's karmic struggle. The karmic consequence. Scorpio's inability to forgive creates a cycle of suffering. They believe that holding onto resentment keeps them in control, but in reality, it chains them to the past. This karmic weight manifests as paranoia, emotional isolation, and self-destructive tendencies. Think of Julius Caesar, who surrounded himself with power but was ultimately betrayed by his closest allies. Or Pablo Escobar, whose relentless thirst for vengeance ultimately led to his downfall. Even in pop culture, figures like Taylor Swift, a Scorpio, have turned their experiences of betrayal into public narratives, sometimes for empowerment, but also at the risk of reliving past pain over and over. How to break the karmic cycle. Practice forgiveness, not for them, for you. Scorpio must understand that holding on to resentment only poisons their own mind. Forgiveness is not about weakness, it's about reclaiming energy that has been trapped in the past. Example: Nelson Mandela, despite years of imprisonment, chose to forgive his oppressors instead of letting hatred consume him. Scorpio has the same power to transform pain into wisdom. Let go of the need for control. The illusion of control is what keeps Scorpio trapped in karmic cycles. They must learn to trust the process of life rather than manipulating every outcome. Exercise. Try surrendering in small ways. Let someone else make the decisions for a day. Or release expectations about how situations should unfold. Transform darkness into light. Use pain for growth, not revenge. Scorpio's strength lies in reinvention. Instead of seeking retribution, they can channel their emotions into something meaningful, whether through creativity, mentorship, or personal growth. Example: Leonardo DiCaprio, a Scorpio, transformed early career struggles into Oscar-winning persistence. Instead of being bitter, he used every loss as motivation to improve. Meditate on compassion. 2 by Loving Kindness Meditation. Scorpio must practice sending love even to those who have wronged them. This doesn't mean excusing harm, but it allows them to free themselves from emotional imprisonment. Mantra: I release the past. I free myself from the burden of resentment. By shifting from control to trust, vengeance to wisdom, Scorpio can step into their true power, not as a master of others, but as a master of themselves. Sagittarius, the karmic pattern of restlessness and lack of commitment. Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, carries the karma of impatience, inconsistency, and an insatiable thirst for freedom. These individuals are adventurers, visionaries, and lifelong learners, but their struggle lies in following through on their goals. They love the thrill of new experiences but often abandon projects before they reach completion. Look at Elon Musk, a Sagittarius who constantly jumps between ventures, Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, sometimes spreading himself too thin. Or Winston Churchill, who, despite his brilliance, had a history of impulsive decision-making. Even Jay-Z, another Sagittarius, started as a street hustler, then rapper, then business mogul, always chasing the next horizon. Their success is undeniable, but their biggest challenge? Patience and perseverance. The karmic consequence. Sagittarius' desire for freedom often leads to unfinished business. They start strong but lose interest once the initial excitement fades. This karmic cycle leaves them frustrated, unfulfilled, and constantly searching for the next big thing, instead of mastering what's already in front of them. Think of Napoleon Bonaparte, whose relentless expansion stretched his empire too thin, leading to inevitable downfall. Or Miley Cyrus, who constantly reinvents herself but sometimes struggles with consistency in her artistry. Even in sports, Mike Tyson, a Sagittarius powerhouse, had immense talent but struggled with discipline, which ultimately impacted his legacy. How to break the karmic cycle. Commit to mastery, not just exploration. Sagittarius loves learning, but true wisdom comes from depth, not just breadth. They must push through discomfort and commit to long-term growth. Example: Bruce Lee, a Sagittarius, didn't just explore martial arts, he mastered them through relentless discipline. Develop a system of accountability. One way to counter Sagittarius impulsiveness is to set clear goals with deadlines. Structure doesn't limit freedom, it enhances it by ensuring progress. Exercise. Write down 3 goals. Then break them into daily actions. Stick to them even when the excitement wears off. Meditate on patience and discipline. Sag needs to train their mind to embrace the slow journey instead of always seeking instant gratification. Mantra: consistency is the key to greatness. I commit fully to my path. Finish what you start, the power of completion. The thrill of starting something new is great, but nothing beats the fulfillment of seeing it through to the end. Example: Taylor Swift, a Sagittarius, evolved her music career through dedicated, strategic growth, proving that freedom and discipline can coexist. By shifting from impulsiveness to commitment, Sagittarius can unlock their full potential, not just as explorers, but as true masters of their destiny. Capricorn, the karmic pattern of ambition and fear of failure. Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, carries the karma of relentless ambition, deep-seated fear of failure, and the tendency to equate self-worth with external success. They are disciplined, strategic, and willing to outwork anyone. But this same drive can make them overly rigid, work-obsessed, and disconnected from life's simple joys. Look at Jeff Bezos, a Capricorn who built Amazon into a global empire. But at what cost? Stories of his extreme work culture reveal the dark side of Capricorn ambition, when success comes at the expense of well-being. Or LeBron James, whose legendary discipline made him one of the greatest athletes of all time. Yet he's had to learn how to balance his career with personal fulfillment. Even historical figures like J. Edgar Hoover, who ran the FBI with an iron fist, show how Capricorn's obsession with control can lead to paranoia and ethical compromises. The karmic consequence. Capricorn's fear of failure makes them push themselves to the brink, often at the expense of their health, relationships, and inner peace. The belief that happiness becomes a trap, because no matter how much they achieve, it never feels like enough. This karmic cycle leads to stress, emotional isolation, and an inability to truly enjoy the fruits of their labor. Look at Richard Nixon, whose need to maintain power led to the Watergate scandal and his ultimate disgrace. Or Howard Hughes, a Capricorn genius who built an aviation empire but became a prisoner of his own perfectionism. Even Tiger Woods, a Capricorn, struggled when his need for control clashed with his personal life. Capricorn's greatest enemy isn't failure, it's their own fear of it. How to break the karmic cycle. Redefine success, more than just money and status. Capricorn must shift their mindset. True success isn't just external, it's about peace, purpose, and balance. Example: Denzel Washington, a Capricorn, prioritizes spirituality and giving back, showing that success can be about impact, not just achievement. Embrace impermanence. Nothing lasts forever. The Buddhist concept of impermanence teaches that power, money, and status will all fade. Clinging to them only creates suffering. Exercise. Meditate on the idea that even the greatest empires fall, and that's okay. Life is about growth, not control. Practice mindfulness. Be here, now. Capricorn must learn to live in the present, rather than obsessing over the future. Mantra: I am enough as I am. Success is not my identity. Find joy beyond achievement. Work is important, but it's not everything. Capricorn must cultivate hobbies, relationships, and moments of pure joy, without an end goal. Example: Bradley Cooper, a Capricorn, shifted from career obsession to focusing on personal fulfillment, proving that balance is possible. By shifting from fear to trust, control to flow, Capricorn can achieve not just success, but true fulfillment, the kind that no title or paycheck can provide. Aquarius, the karmic pattern of emotional detachment and isolation. Aquarius, ruled by Uranus and Saturn, carries the karma of intellectual superiority, emotional distance, and difficulty forming deep personal connections. They are visionaries, rebels, and innovators, but their love for logic and big ideas often comes at the expense of emotional intimacy. Look at Elon Musk, an Aquarius who reshapes industries but struggles with personal relationships. Or Oprah Winfrey, another Aquarius, who connects deeply with the world yet has always maintained an air of detachment in her personal life. Even historical figures like Thomas Edison, whose brilliance revolutionized technology, were known for their inability to form close emotional bonds. The karmic consequence. Aquarius thrives on ideas, innovation, and progress, but struggles with emotional depth. Their tendency to approach life through logic makes them seem cold, aloof, or disconnected, often leaving them misunderstood, lonely, or feeling different from others. Think of Nikola Tesla, whose mind changed the world, yet he lived in near isolation. Or Steve Jobs, whose genius built Apple but whose emotional detachment made personal relationships challenging. Even in pop culture, The Weeknd, An Aquarius artist. Sings about love but often portrays emotional disconnection. Aquarius' biggest karmic trap? Prioritizing intellect over emotional connection, leading to a life of loneliness despite being surrounded by people. How to break the karmic cycle? Learn to listen and engage emotionally. Aquarius is great at seeing the bigger picture but often overlooks personal moments. They must learn to listen, not just analyze, to connect with people, not just ideas. Example: Harry Styles, an Aquarius, actively engages with his fans on a personal level, showing that intellectual brilliance and emotional connection can coexist. Prioritize human connection over ideals. Aquarius often puts saving the world above forming meaningful one-on-one relationships. But true impact starts small, with real connections. Exercise. Instead of debating or problem solving, spend time just being present with loved ones, without trying to fix anything. Embrace emotional vulnerability. Aquarius fears losing control by showing emotions, but true strength lies in allowing themselves to be seen, flaws and all. Mantra: it's okay to feel. Connection is more important than perfection. Ground themselves in meaningful relationships. Instead of seeking connection through movements, revolutions, or intellectual pursuits, Aquarius must invest in individual relationships, friends, family, partners. Example: Jennifer Aniston, an Aquarius, balances career success with strong personal relationships, proving that intellect and emotional warmth can go hand in hand. By shifting from detachment to engagement, from observation to participation, Aquarius can unlock their full potential, not just as world changers, but as deeply connected human beings. Pisces, the karmic pattern of illusion and escapism. Pisces, ruled by Neptune, carries the karma of illusion, emotional sensitivity, and a tendency to escape reality. They are dreamers, artists, and spiritual seekers, but their greatest struggle is grounding themselves in the real world. Pisces often drift between fantasy and reality, seeing life through a poetic lens, but when confronted with harsh truths, they can retreat, avoid, or numb themselves instead of facing challenges head-on. Look at Kurt Cobain, a Pisces whose deep emotions fueled his music but also led him into cycles of escapism. Or Rihanna, another Pisces, who embodies creativity and fluidity but has spoken openly about periods of feeling lost. Even historical figures like Albert Einstein, a Pisces genius, were known for being lost in thought, sometimes detached from practical matters. The karmic consequence: Pisces' tendency to live in dreams instead of reality often leads to disappointment, disillusionment, and a sense of being unfulfilled. Their desire for something more beauty, more meaning, more magic, can make them reject the mundane aspects of life, leading to procrastination, avoidance, or unhealthy coping mechanisms. Think of Michael Jackson, a Pisces who created an entire fantasy world, Neverland, but struggled deeply with reality. Or Steve Jobs, whose visionary ideas transformed the world but who was also known for his reality distortion field, a refusal to accept what was actually possible. Even in literature, Jack Kerouac, a Pisces writer, lived in an endless search for meaning, but his inability to stay grounded led to self-destruction. How to break the karmic cycle? Practice mindfulness, stay present, not lost in dreams. Pisces must train themselves to fully engage with the present moment rather than escaping into their imagination. Example: Bruce Willis, a Pisces, thrives by balancing creativity with grounded discipline, showing that vision and practicality can coexist. Turn dreams into action, commit to practical steps. Ideas are beautiful, but they mean nothing without execution. Pisces must break their cycle of starting projects and never finishing them. Exercise. Write down 3 real-world actions for every dream. Then follow through no matter what. Confront reality, even when it's uncomfortable. Life isn't always poetic. Pisces must learn to accept reality as it is, rather than what they wish it to be. Mantra: the present moment is my home. I embrace reality with clarity. Find healthy ways to stay grounded. Since Pisces can be easily overwhelmed, they need structured routines, stable relationships, and physical activities to anchor them. Example: Adam Levine, a Pisces, keeps himself balanced through fitness and structured creativity, proving that dreamers can thrive in reality. By shifting from illusion to clarity, from escape to engagement, Pisces can unlock their greatest gift, not just dreaming of a better world, but creating one. Understanding your karmic patterns is the first step toward transformation, but knowledge alone is not enough. The real challenge is applying these lessons to your daily life. Buddha taught that karma is not punishment, it is simply cause and effect. If you struggle with control like Aries, with material attachment like Taurus, or with detachment like Aquarius, it is not because you are doomed to suffer, but because you are meant to overcome these lessons and grow beyond them. Even the greatest minds and historical figures faced these karmic struggles. Alexander the Great had to learn humility, Steve Jobs had to learn patience, and even saints and spiritual leaders had to confront their own shadows. What matters is not whether you have flaws, but what you choose to do with them. So take this knowledge, reflect on your patterns, and start making small changes. Practice patience, let go of attachments, cultivate mindfulness, and use your strengths for good. As the Bible says in Galatians, a man reaps what he sows. And as Buddha reminds us, no one saves us but ourselves. No one can and no one may. We ourselves must walk the path. The power is in your hands. Which path will you choose?